Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zack, and for the last week I've been driving the 2025 Alfa Romeo Stelvio Veloce. Up front is a 2.0 liter turbocharged inline-4, and down below is an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now I'm super excited to be making this video because I've spent the last week driving the Stelvio as my daily driver. I've done about 300 miles in the Stelvio, and it's been over a year since we've reviewed an Alfa Romeo SUV. We were lucky enough to do the Alfa Romeo 4C semi-recently, but I haven't been in a Stelvio in over half a decade, and so today we're going to be taking a look at what has changed, if this is a good buy, and what I like and dislike about the Alfa Romeo Stelvio Veloce. But if you'd like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackbradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to that 2-liter turbo under the hood. It makes about 280 horsepower, and the driving experience has been one of the best experiences for not only the Stelvio, but in this category. This makes more power and is more fun to drive than the Mazda CX-5, of which I have always hailed as one of the best performing SUVs in this segment. So I really enjoy the power from the 2-liter turbo, and of course its dynamics. Paired to it is that 8-speed automatic transmission. Nothing really too crazy there, but when you do put it into dynamic mode, it is pretty quick shifting, and I of course love to see that. And last but not least, it does have that Q4 badge at the back, meaning it is all-wheel drive. So how does it feel to drive the Alfa Romeo Stelvio Veloce? Well, it is great. Now, there was a big V6 turbo option, the Quadrifoglio, that insane beast of an automobile. That isn't this. However, like I said, it is more fun to drive than a RAV4 or CR-V or Mazda CX-5. It is a very enjoyable experience. Visibility is good. Ride quality is but it is a sportier SUV, so I can't really knock it for that. This is meant for performance and looks and things like that, so I think it's on par with those standards. Man, I really do enjoy driving it for what it is. Now, on a Canyon, I would much prefer a Miata, but if I want an SUV like such, well, this is one of the best. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior, because some things have been updated since the last time we drove one, but honestly, not a whole lot. In front of me, one of the biggest updates is the digital gauge cluster. I really do like it. I like this old style of gauge that they give you. Tons of information, looks good, operates well. Love to see all of that. On the steering wheel, on the left, we do have our adaptive cruise as well as lane keep assist, and the engine start-stop button. Took me a few days to remember where it was. Off to the right, we do have our volume, skip track, and pages, and we have these giant metal paddle shifters around the back of the steering wheel. Off to the left, we do have a big climate vent, headlight switch, gauge dimmer switch, fog lights, auto start stop on and off, and parking sensors on and off. And then moving on to the door, we have our lock and unlock, 3 levels of memory seats, our tailgate release, power mirrors, and power windows found down below. Moving into the center, we get our infotainment display. Now, when this car debuted in 2016, this was nice. This is no longer nice. It has since been outdated quite a bit. The screen is maybe a piece of asparagus and a quarter wide by half an asparagus tall. It's laughable. The backup camera is even worse quality. I cannot believe that this is found in a $60,000 SUV. It would cost them 38 cents more to do a higher definition backup camera, and I think it would make it feel a lot better. But the way that this interior is laid out, they would need to completely redesign the interior top to bottom in order to fit a larger screen. Now, it does have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so those have been wonderful. But again, this is a Fisher-Price screen compared to its competition. Down below that, we do have 2 climate vents as well as the hazard switch, and we have the climate controls, dual zone climate, as well as heated seats. However, at this price tag, I really would have expected at least cooled seats or ventilated seats to be with those heated seats. Then we get a USB-A as well as a 12-volt outlet and opening cup holders. We'll do a big friggin' bottle test, and unfortunately it fails, but to be expected, and this hasn't changed in the last 10 years. But then we do have the shifter in the middle. I do like the little Italian flag down at the bottom, remembering its heritage that we'll talk about later. Power parking brake off to the left, and then we have our drive modes down below that for D and A. D is for dynamic, that's going to be your sport mode. N is for natural, that's going to be your everyday mode, and A is basically economy mode. Off to the right, we do have our volume and skip track. Love that they integrate this into one single knob. And then we do have a little switch dial here to operate the infotainment, although I can honestly say this video you're seeing here now of me using it is the first time in the entire week that I touched it. It is a touchscreen. Just use that. It's way simpler. However, this does work, but seems unnecessary. Then we do have a wireless charger, center console, and in here you will find a USB-C, aux, and USB-A. So a little tiny tippy toe into modern day with that. The seats have been comfortable. They do have Alfa Romeo embossed into the headrest. I really do like that. And they are a lot sportier than what you would find, again, in a RAV4, CR-V, or Mazda CX-5. They are sporty seats, and so you get a sporty seat experience in them, which isn't a bad thing given the vehicle. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2025 Alfa Romeo Stelvio Veloce, and a couple of things to note. First of all, knee room is okay. It's not great, it's not terrible, but you're gonna find that a lot in this segment. We do have 2 climate vents, 2 USB-As, as well as 2 heated seats. Again, something that Alfa Romeo could do to update this a little bit would just be switching to USB-Cs. That would just help push this car into the modern era a little bit more and not show its age, because this is really the 9th or 10th model year that this has been on sale. We do have a center console back here with 2 cup holders in it. That's pretty much it. Seats are fine. They're cushy enough. They're on the harder side. I don't love them, but I also don't hate them. I do have lock and unlock over here. Kind of nice to see that. Grab handles. And of course, we can put this all the way back if we do want to experience a little bit more sunlight in the back of the Stelvio. Absolutely love to see that. But speaking of the back of the Stelvio, we do have our trunk and cargo space to look at, so let's do that now. All right, around the back of the Stelvio, there is a button down here, and it does have a power lift gate, as I would expect at this price point. Once we are back here, we do have some manual handles here to lower the second row. That basically undoes it, and then you have to push from over here. So we can do that again here, unlatch, and then push, and there you go. Now you have more space. You also do have a 12-volt outlet over here. Love to see that. You do get LED lights. Again, something that not all vehicles at this price point have LED lights. You would think it'd be so simple, but alas, it is not. You can fold this up. We do have some things in there. And then we can come down here, and we do have a little bit of storage and whatnot. However, no spare tire, just an inflator kit. So that is the rear trunk space of the Alfa Romeo Stelvio. In case you've ever been curious, you can come up here and close it or lock it. Bada bing, bada boom. Close it just like that. It does beep. This car does love beeping. And it is made in Italy. I forgot to mention that. It is built just south of Rome. So this actually is an Italian-built Italian car. Very nice to see that. Now we have to talk about the looks. And if the driving doesn't get you, the looks will. I do have to say, although it was facelifted in 2023, you could barely tell, the Stelvio since day one has been a very attractive, very good-looking SUV. I would say, again, one of the best looking SUVs on the market. And Alfa Romeo was somehow able to take the Giulia, their sedan, and translate the design language to the SUV and actually make it look good. This is a feat that isn't commonly done, and Alfa Romeo has done it. I absolutely love the look of it. Everyone that saw this said, wow, that is a pretty SUV. And I agree with them. Even at night, the lighting signature, those were updated in 2023. I love the on, off, how it glows. Really, really cool stuff there. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the Alfa Romeo Stelvio Veloce for the last week? Well, it's always fun and interesting to drive an Alfa Romeo here in the modern era. I think there are some things that Alfa has done really well and other things that they haven't. Honestly, the biggest miss of this vehicle is the price. At $57,000, tax title fee, you're well into the $60,000 range. This does not feel like a $60,000 SUV. A $40,000? $45,000? All day long. But at this price point of $60,000, again, adding in $3,000, it's really 57, whatever, you get my point. I would expect cooled seats, I would expect a better infotainment, I would expect a product that isn't 10 years old. Here is the 2025 interior shot. Here is the 2018 interior shot. It's hard to see the differences. And Alfa Romeo, so far, to my knowledge, hasn't announced any new update for this vehicle, so we have to assume that this will probably stick around for at least the 26 and 27 model year. I don't feel like it's worthy of that $57,000 price tag. However, there are some things that this car does well. The performance for a 4-cylinder turbo is great and better than the competition, albeit the competition is 15 to 20 grand cheaper, but it is very fun to drive. I like the paddle shifters. I love the way that it looks. Parked in my driveway, this has been sensational. And all my friends and family, they know what I do for a living. I get a new car every week. So when everyone said this week, oh, what are you driving? And I said, Alfa Romeo. It got a look that I don't often get when I say Toyota, Lexus, Mazda, Hyundai, Honda, Ford, Lincoln. It got this, oh, Alfa Romeo. It's a sexy name. And that's the point I'm getting at. This might not be the best value SUV there is, but what you pay for when you buy this is that experience. You buy individuality. You buy uniqueness. In my time with this for the last week, I've seen one other Alfa Romeo Stelvio, and telling someone that you drive an Alfa Romeo, that's a fun and exciting sentence. The SUV market is so overly saturated. Every single brand makes a million different SUVs. Everyone buys SUVs. Everyone wants SUVs. And so it's hard to stick out. If I told someone, hey, I'm driving a Honda CR-V this week, they wouldn't even ask a follow-up or give me the time of day. We would move on with lunch and never mention it again. But when I said Alfa Romeo, everyone said, ooh, what's it like? What's it called? Ooh, the Veloce trim level. It's not limited. It's not SEL. It's not platinum. It's Veloce. That is something special. So you have to ask yourself, is this car's price worth being special? What is the price to you of being special? This car is like the supreme clothing brand. I personally don't get it, and I probably wouldn't spend my money on it, but there are people that matters to. Having the newest, coolest thing is something that matters. Being the talk of the town matters to those people. And for those people, this is an SUV that will make you the talk of the town for a little while. This will get your relatives to pay attention to you while talking. This will break the mold when picking up your kids from school. I can guarantee you no other parents in the line are gonna have an Alfa Romeo. So that's something to consider. Maybe it's a little bit too rich for my blood, but I'm not saying it's too rich for anyone's blood. And that is the price of being unique. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Alfa Romeo for letting me borrow their Stelvio Veloce for the last week. Huge thank you to G. Schmitz for facilitating the cleaning and delivery of this Stelvio. And of course, the Midwest Automotive Media Association. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.